I am feeling increasingly seen by anime and I don't appreciate it. I'm over here just saying, anime, please stop. And anime is like, I see you. And I'm like, anime, please. They're just like, you cannot run away. And I'm like, no tengo las palabras para decirte lo que me estás haciendo. And anime is just like, I don't speak Spanish, I speak Japanese. Hello and welcome back to Binging Last Season. Look, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm feeling pretty good this week. And I'm feeling pretty good because I decided to watch 3 fantasy anime that I thought were really gonna make up for the lack of strong isekai anime from summer 2024, and I was right. So yeah, it's a bit of a spoiler before I give them their actual scores later in the video, but if you came here for really solid recommendations on fantasy anime, you came to the right place. But I'm just gonna make one really quick clarification. These aren't the only fantasy anime from summer 2024 that I was interested in. The other 2 are Quality Assurance in Another World and Tower of God Season 2, but I don't want to watch Season 2 of Tower of God before watching the first season again, so I'm not going to talk about that one. And I'm not going to explain this too much, but Quality Assurance in Another World is not a cut and dry fantasy anime. I realized that when I started watching it, so I'm not going to be talking about those 2 in this video. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the first anime that I'm going to cover in this video, I Parry Everything. Another anime with another bit that has legs like Patrick Star from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie and had me giggling like a goofy goober! Rock. I Parry Everything is a good old-fashioned fantasy anime about a boy named Noor who just wants to be an adventurer. He goes to every length to make that happen, but unfortunately he doesn't get any major skills. He only ends up getting one skill, a minor skill, from each class. And based on the title, you probably know at this point that the sword class skill that he got was Parry. And by the end of the second episode, I knew this bit had legs when the title of the episode popped up on the screen and it said, I Parry Rewards. I Parry Everything is an anime that really highlights the importance of good communication with a bit that keeps on giving. And it doesn't skimp on the action or the excitement or the awesome scenes either. Thank God, the only thing that it skimps on is the romance. Whew. If you're looking for a feel-good action and fantasy anime that stays funny the whole way through, this is the anime for you. And look, I know that deep in my heart, I can only hope that one day I will be as admirable of a dipshit as this man is. I give it an 8 out of 10, and I've watched it twice at this point, so you can really trust that number. I think this is a good time. It's nothing that's gonna make your eyes pop out of your skull, but it's fun, it's feel good, and it's funny. That's all I really need from an anime nowadays. I mean, what else could I possibly ask for? It's not like something's gonna give me the inspiration to go outside and turn my life around and oh no. Oh, what it does. I'm singing a lot this episode, dude. But listen, the first thing I'm going to say about this, I haven't even said the name. I'm going to say it before the name. The first thing I'm going to say about this anime is that the first time I listened to the OP, when the intro came on, I was cracking up. It's literally just somebody's like Japanese uncle in a karaoke bar, and they recorded it and they said, wrap it up, that's good. The anime is called The Ossan Newbie Adventurer, trained to death by the most powerful party, became invincible. And if you're really clever, you might even know what it's about already. And look, there's just so much to talk about that I don't even know where to start. Where to begin? Oh, how about the fact that I feel seen, the fact that I feel understood, and I don't like it. The intro of this video is referring to mostly this anime because this guy is technically older than me, and I have to stress that because I'm younger than this man, okay? He's 32, that makes me younger than him, and so I'm not an old man, and I just want to be super clear about that. And his name is Rick, and I don't like that either because that feels like an old guy name. I feel like they chose an old guy name on purpose. They couldn't name him like, I don't know, like Jason. Is Jason a young guy name? What's a young guy name nowadays? Oh God, I don't know. Anyway, Rick is trained up into this beefy piece of man meat by Big Bazoinga dark elf maid Rionette, who's 19. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to say it. Now you know. But it's fine. It's just a working relationship. It's not like she likes him or anything. Oh, fuck. This anime makes me feel tired, dirty, and makes me think too hard about the fact that I go, huh? every time I stand up. But on the bright side, it's a lot of fun. It makes good use of the trope where everybody underestimates the main character, and the members of his party are pretty freaking cool. Not to mention, he's pretty freaking cool. And you know, maybe this is just written by some aging writer who wants to feel like he's young again and like he has a chance to really do something with his life and turn it all around and make the most for himself. And there's nothing wrong with that. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Give it a 9 out of 10. No. You're projecting. How about that? It wrapped up really well on its own as a season, so it could just not get a season 2 and it would be fine, but I kind of hope it does. And that's not me hoping for another old man to have his time in the spotlight, okay? It's just a good anime. Why can't you just accept that? The last anime I'm going to talk about today surprised me in a lot of ways. You see, nowadays when anime is coming out, there's a certain amount of stuff that I do and don't expect. I don't expect to see like movie level animation on any given random anime. Generally, I think it's only going to show up in the really heavy hitters, the ones that are doing really well, like a Demon Slayer or a Jujutsu Kaisen or like a Chainsaw Man, some really, pretty animated stuff. I'm not really expecting that from most shows, which is why some people might be surprised when I give certain anime like an 8, even though it's not exceptionally pretty. Like the prior 2 shows that I've talked about, there's nothing that's really stand out in terms of visuals in either of those anime. There's nothing that really excels in the animation quality. And to get like an 8 or a 9, generally for me, it just needs to excel at what it's doing. It needs to be really good story-wise or really funny, but I'm not expecting something to really pop out and be strong on an animation standpoint alone. Which is why halfway through the first episode of Wistoria, Wand and Sword, I was thinking, this is kind of interesting, but it's not really for me. It's kind of like a Harry Potter style universe somewhat, but it's just alright. And by the end of the first episode, I was trying to surgically reattach my jaw. I mean, seriously, I haven't seen this much effort put into a new IP in a decent while. I can't remember the last show that came out that wasn't expected to be a banger that looked this good. And I don't know if everyone else was expecting this show to come out and rock my socks off. I mean, I don't know, but I wasn't expecting it. I had never heard of this before I started watching the first episode, but it's fucking awesome. And I will repeat the name here to make sure that you remember to go and watch it. It's called Wistoria, Wand and Sword, and it's fucking awesome. I mean, seriously, they did so much in this first season, not just from an animation standpoint, but establishing their world, drawing you into their universe, their little information pages in the middle of each episode. There's so much to appreciate here. The story lies somewhere in between the realms of like Harry Potter and Mashal, and if you're not interested in it at first, don't worry, because I wasn't either. But there is enough eye candy sprinkled throughout. I shouldn't even say sprinkled throughout this show. It is fucking dumped on top of there. And there's enough of it there that by the end of this season, you're probably going to be more interested in the story anyway. And maybe even like me, you're going to be wanting to see how this world plays out. They have set up so much. It's almost like, I think this might even be a franchise if it does well, like a long-standing franchise. It was really good. It's another solid action fantasy anime world where magic is king, and there is one guy who doesn't give a fuck about it. Everyone's just looking at Will like, his name is Will, by the way. Everyone's just looking at Will like, how the fuck are you gonna survive magic school if you can't use magic forehead? And he's just like, by running your pockets. Look, here's another anime that has a ton of eye candy, but they don't waste the opportunity to get your attention. And when they do, they get you interested in their storyline. They make you want to know what's going to happen next in that world and if Will is actually going to make it to his aspirations. And the intrigue that's introduced in the second half of the season is interesting enough that I really, really want to see season 2 now. And that is a good sign from a show like this. And that's why I gave it a 9 out of 10. There's a couple reasons why I gave it a 9 and not a 10. I mean, I've just been sucking this thing off the whole time. You're probably kind of confused, but the truth is, there are some parts that I found somewhat lacking. The story itself didn't draw me in that quickly, and when it comes to the eye candy, the really eye-catching type of stuff, I'm not going to say too much. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's not as good at some points than it is in others, and I would say the points that they screwed up on might have been the most important points. And I don't want to say they screwed up, it just isn't as good where it should be, you know, reaching the heights of what they're doing. It's kind of like the low point for the whole season. So wasn't really that big of a fan at that point. I thought they kind of dropped the ball, and that's why I don't think it's quite a 10 out of 10. But I do think Wand and Sword Wistoria has I said it backwards. Who fucking cares? I do think that show has a lot of potential for the future. I think the next coming seasons are going to be really cool. And I think if you're going to get into this show, now is the time to do it. There is no reason not to watch season 1. It wraps up pretty well. It gets me excited for season 2, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Binging Last Season. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found an anime that you want to go and watch now. And to be honest, I don't really have anything in mind for next week, and it's possible I won't be doing an anime video. There's a couple videos that I want to get out at some point. There's one anime video that is not a Binging Last Season episode that I want to get out. I've been thinking about it for a while, and my time limit's sort of running out. And I'm also going on a trip in the near future, so I'm trying to get ahead of a few videos. So there may be a few gaming videos coming your way. We'll see if I can make them work. But until next time, I'll see you guys next time. That's the second fucking video I've done now.